Hey there, Castlevania fans, this is Wesatron. Today we're going to be taking a look at NECA's Player Select Simon Belmont action figure from their Castlevania encompassing line. The other figures that came out during this series were primarily Symphony of the Night figures, so it's pretty awesome that they actually went back and did the original bad boy, the first Belmont that we were introduced to. This is the design based off of the cover of the video game, which we can take a look at real quick. And you can see it's fairly well created here, so that's pretty awesome. I'm glad they decided to do this kind of look. I mean, he was basically just a little block of blocks back in the day, so it's kind of neat to see them actually imagine him the way he looks here as opposed to what they think he looks like now, which is like an 80s diva goth woman. I don't know. It's really weird, but standard clamshell packaging here. No special, art on the side. There's a nice shot of the figure here. With the face, actually looks much better than it does in the package. And then on the back, basically sort of cross-sells, just got pictures of the other figures. No info or anything on the bottom. We do still have credits. And what I think is really neat is that I didn't realize how long John Mordell and Jeffrey Trapp had been working for NECA. So as much as we've been talking about them lately, here they are all the way back here in, when was this, 2007, I believe? Yeah, 2007 is when this figure came out. So, this figure's getting up there in age, but Randy Falk, of course, is the main guy in charge, and Jason Fraley did the sculpt. And fabrication was actually by Four Horsemen Studios. That's interesting. So, yeah, excited to have this guy. Been looking for him for a long time, just the price hasn't been right, but recently on the NECA store, they found some old stock, and I got him for about $17, which is still almost twice what he was in stores, but I never found him in stores. So, I'm glad to have him. Let's get him open and see what he's like. Here's Simon out of packaging, and I kind of tried to do my best to recreate the pose from the front of the box, but it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I mean, if you actually get it like everything sort of lined up about right, you can see NECA did a really good job at trying to recreate that cover in terms of the costume and everything. I think it looks really cool. Now, of course, by doing that, they did sort of have to, I guess, either work with Capcom or fudge the design of the rest of the costume, like from the front angles, based on what they had, or like I said, working with Capcom. So, that being said, it actually looks really, really nice. Now, the head has always been a point of contention with fans because it is kind of sloppy looking. If I can get it to zoom in a little bit, or focus, there we go. I think ultimately the sculpt underneath there is nice, but the paint from the factory, because the prototype samples look great, I think the paint just needed a little work. So it's not bad. I mean, like, it doesn't really bother me, especially, I mean, because right now you're looking at it very close up. I mean, you're going to be seeing it usually about this far away or, further when he's on a shelf. So it doesn't look bad at all from a distance. Up close, you kind of start to see inconsistencies and stuff, but it's really not that bad. His chin did scrape against the front of the blister, if you can see that. So scraped a little bit of paint off right there. Not too bad, though. Costume looks really, really nice. I'm a big fan of the way they did the cloth here. They made it look like it was like really, really tight material over his muscles, so the stretching of the fabric looks really realistic. Very, very cool. The leather up here, in terms of paint and sculpt, looks fantastic. They really captured that look. Got a nice little wash in there to bring it out. Cracked leather for the pauldron there. Very, very cool. Leather again on the headband here with some studs. A little gold and amulet type of deal. I don't know what, some kind of gem up there. Looks cool. Hair looks very nice. Nice big kind of locks of hair. Very, very cool looking. This is hard plastic here, so you might want to be careful with that. Normally nowadays they use much softer, but that's actually pretty tough. Back looks really, really nice. You can see the belt there. They did a lot of great sculpting on the belt and on the furry loincloth. Got kind of a Masters of the Universe type of deal going on there. You can see the scabbard here for the dagger. Very, very nice. Look at the incredibly ornate metalwork they did on the scabbard there. That's amazing. Like, for this scale, I mean, this is only a 7-inch figure. And the texturing here on the loincloth, amazing. Same deal over here. Just outstanding work on those sheaths. Very cool. Big, huge, thick thigh muscles, something Chun-Li would be proud of. Like, very cool. They did a really good job with those. Very nice looking. And you hopefully can see that there's some nice, like, airbrushing there. So the muscles aren't just, you know, painted peach. They actually have some nice work. You can see it a little bit there in the arms as well. Yeah, really, really nice job. And, of course, the boots are fantastic. I may have to find another one of these at some point to make my Conan custom, because that's pretty baller as it is. There's a little string there. Let's get that. Very, very cool. Bottoms are detailed. Very cool. And they do have peg holes. So very, very nice. I really, really like the look of this figure. Like a lot. He looks really, really cool. Let's get him to the side real quick, and we'll take a look at his accessories, because he does come with a lot. We do come with Simon's whip, which is very, very cool. It's kind of his signature weapon. That's always been the thing. So very, very neat. It is pliable to a certain degree. Things are a little bit difficult to get in and out of his hand. It's just a very, very tight hand. I may try and soften it up with some warm water or a hairdryer to get stuff in and out. But yeah, very cool. Very nice job. And you can see like they really went all out to try and make that look like it was leather. And then at the end, they do have a painted tip on it. So like it would crack and hurt. So very, very cool. What's neat that I didn't know until I started looking up, because I was trying to figure out what this jug was, is that the Morning Star he comes with, the ball and chain, actually is a secondary evolution of his whip. His web. So what's interesting is that they actually had pretty much the same sculpt up to the hilt on there. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice little touch there. I dig that they decided to do that. It does have a real chain on here. It is real metal there. And then actually kind of a spiky, like if you get hit with this, it would probably hurt, ball in the end. So very, very cool. I like that. Nifty. Next we come to the boomerang. This is very cool. It's the cross-shaped pattern. In the game, you can throw this at people, and I think it comes like kind of does like this type of thing if you keep dodging it. If I remember right. It's been a long time since I played the very first game. But yeah, very cool. I dig it. The sculpt is nice. They did some nice paint detail work on there. And I like the lines on each part. It almost like makes it seem like they wanted it to appear in motion. So I think that's kind of a neat little touch there. It does come with a spare left hand. And I don't know if it's specifically for holding this, because you can see it's kind of a narrow hole there. But that does seem like the most likely candidate. And again, it is very tough plastic, so you're going to have to work with some stuff. But yeah, so the extra hand is on a ball joint, so you just swap it out very easily over here. Just pulls off, pops on. And then he's got another holding hand, so that's cool. Then we've got, this is the thing that I really couldn't figure out, and it is it's a jug for a potion of invisibility. So I didn't recognize it from what I've played, but yeah, cool. Nice little addition there. I dig it. It's not super detailed, but it doesn't really need to be. I mean, it's painted well. They did a good job with it. I really like the reflective surface of it, so nifty. And finally, I believe this is the last accessory. We get candles. Unfortunately, there's like no way for it to really stick to a wall or anything, but basically candles in the game, when they're hanging up like this, you whip them or sword slash them or whatever it is, depending on the game, and they'll poof and drop you items like this. So cool. This is actually really, really well detailed. The paint on the flames isn't great, but you know, it does the job. But what's interesting is how detailed they went. It makes it look like a demon back there with like little demon wings, and maybe his arms are kind of growing into these plates that hold the candles up. I'm not really sure, but they did a really, really good job on it for something that's you know, not really that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. So very nice, NECA. Just like the stuff that came with Alucard, you have like a lot of stuff to really work with there. So like the boomerang is something that's carried across all the games, the candle, all that stuff. Just like the stopwatch that came with Alucard, it can work with multiple characters. So it's cool that they have kind of that cross accessorization, I guess. So on the figure himself, he also has two final accessories. On his left hip, he has his dagger, which is very simple. No detail on the blade or anything, but a very nicely detailed hilt and leather wrapped handle. Very, very cool. A little bit of rust pattern there on the inside. Nice touch. Very cool. I dig that. And this is just, it's not even like friction, it's just gravity that holds that in. So if you were to turn this guy upside down, as it just happened, it would fall out pretty easily. So be careful if you do decide to pick this guy up that you don't spin him upside down, because he could drop his weapons. And on his right hip, that beautiful sword scabbard we were looking at holds a beautiful sword. So very cool here. Very, very ornate hilt there. Very, very nice. The guard is just outstanding. Bejeweled a little bit. Hopefully not with a bejeweler machine. Nice little tip on the end there. The pommel kind of looks like something out of Stargate. Very narrow blade, and it's a short sword, so it's not really long in his hand, which I think is kind of cool because while swords are neat, you don't really often get characters that have short swords, so it's just something a little different, which I like. And that slides right back down in there, no big deal. So very cool. This action figure is really awesome. I really like him. Next up, what makes him an action figure? The action. Let's talk about articulation. We've got a double ball jointed head, so he gets a little bit of downward, not much. Like this is looking forward, he gets like that much. Back, he gets a pretty good amount. We get some nice tilt in there, and then of course, left and right and stuff. We have sort of DST style ball jointed shoulders where it is a ball in there, so you can always tell that because there will be rotation in the shoulder itself. So the arms only go out to about there. On here we've got a little bit of restriction because this is a very tough plastic for the shoulder pauldron. So as you start to move that out, you can see it's going to be restricted pretty quickly. So that's a bit of a bummer, but not the end of the world. And then we've got swivels in the biceps muscles. Well, it's swivel in the bicep on this side. On this side, it's at the top of his cuff, which is cool. I always really liked that NECA built its articulation around the design of the figure. So that was a neat little touch there. We've got swivel elbows, which normally I really hate, but on him really isn't that bad because it gets about the same range as a regular hinged elbow. So that's not bad. I mean, it's pretty much 90 degrees if you want to look at it that way. It goes out a little bit when it does it, but not a big deal. Except I keep wanting to treat it like a hinge, so I keep pushing down on it. I'm going to break this thing. We've got a ball-jointed midsection here, right at the chest, so which is interesting because this figure is a bit older, so we get a little bit of side-to-side, not a lot. We do get some crunch forward and some push back. I hope you can see how much that's going back and forth. So not bad, and then a little bit of swivel action in there. Not a ton, like really just enough to kind of angle the body a little bit. But, good enough for, simple poses. Nothing in the waist, as far as I can tell. I've been trying to mess with it, but it looks like it is one solid piece throughout. We've got V-cut hips, and they are a little hindered by the skirt or the barbarian underwear, whatever you want to call it. But they do go forward a little bit, and then they go back actually pretty good. The cut actually works really well going back, so if you want to get in some deep stances, you can really make that work by kind of turning his body a little bit like that, so it's pretty cool. It works. It probably saved them a lot of money on the ball joints. We've got swivels in the top of the thighs, which is interesting because it's not a straight across line like you're used to seeing in thigh cuts. It's actually at an angle, so you can stand him straight up and turn his leg in, and it doesn't look like it changes much, which is really interesting. I'm not sure what made them decide to do that, but it's interesting. I don't know. It doesn't seem to hurt anything. It's not bad. It's just weird. Hinges in the knees. They get a little less than 90 degrees, so not too bad. Swivels in the boot tops, which seem a little bit extraneous because you do have ball-jointed feet, which are really nice. Actually pretty good range on them, especially for a figure this old. Not super-duper range like Dutch or anything, but, not bad by any means. But since they are on a ball joint, they also spin here, so I'm not really sure why they bothered even doing that. But, hey, it works. I'm not going to complain about extra articulation. So, like I said, I paid about $17 for this guy, before shipping, of course. And he, at the time, I believe, when he came out, was $10. At $10, this thing is an insane steal. There's no reason why you shouldn't pick it up. At $15, still an amazing deal. At $17, I really like it at $17. Actually, for everything that you get here, I mean, all these different accessories and everything, I would say that probably about 23 to 25 would be your max, unless you're a big, Castlevania fan, and then, feel free to go upwards of 30. It's up to you. But for me, I would say my max would probably be around 23 to 25. Outstanding figure, great paint, interesting articulation choices that actually do kind of work with the sculpt and everything. I very much dig this guy. I will definitely recommend him. If you aren't a big Castlevania fan, which I'm not a huge Castlevania fan, but, I've played some of the games, and I really like the character designs. But, yeah, if you just like barbarians or like medieval-looking warriors, fantasy warriors, definitely pick this guy up. He's got a lot to offer. I mean, lots of different types of weapons, very nicely detailed weapons, great costume, good articulation. Definitely pick him up if you get the opportunity. I imagine you'll probably be able to find him at, not trade shows, but cons and stuff like that for probably pretty decent prices. But yeah. If you have any comments or questions, please throw them in the box below. I will respond to them as soon as I can. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have about this guy. If you have any questions about any other reviews, go to those reviews and post them there. Yeah, anything you need at all, guys, just let me know. I appreciate you stopping by and checking out the review. And that's it. I will talk to you later. Thanks a lot.